Well, hello there, Gemini. It is so good to see you again. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so grateful that you're here. Today, we're going to be doing your mid-November reading. So this is good from now until mid-December. We'll take a look at the overall energies with the Oracle cards, and then we'll move to the Tarot for more details. And if you're enjoying the content that I create or resonating with the message, I'd really appreciate it if you would consider liking, commenting, or subscribing. I really do appreciate all of your support. All right, so let's get into your reading. Let's see what is going on for you. Cast Spirit, the miracles are endless. Oh my goodness, my heart just jumped a beat. That is just such a lovely energy. And one of my favorite cards in this deck because it's this energy. You know, I'm going to say Jupiter goes direct next week. And Gemini, I think, you know, you are one of the signs that has been really held back by this Jupiter retrograde. You're going forward, and I feel like it's almost like it's raining miracles. And I think it's almost like out of the blue. Like you may be feeling like it's coming, right? But I think it's like right now it's the calm before the storm, except that there's like nothing happening, right? And then all of a sudden it's all going to come together here and now. Just stay present. Just stay present. I feel like you might be a little anxious at this time. It's kind of like this energy of, you know, are things ever going to work out? It's, you know, with that, whatever this is, you know, a project you have, a relationship you're wanting, whatever it is, it's kind of like, is it ever going to happen? It's almost a little bit of a sense of losing hope, and yet at the same time knowing, okay, intuitively knowing this is coming. So it's this really interesting energy of, you know, I feel like you could be having a little bit of anxiety, kind of like, you know, it's a kind of an exciting anxiety, knowing that it's going to happen, and yet at the same time so fearful that it's not going to come in. All right, so let's go to the tarot. Let's get some more details for you. We're going to take a look at your present energy, your obstacle or area of resistance, and then we're going to take a look at advice from Spirit. So let's see what we have here in store for you. Yeah, we have, I'm going to say, deserving and peace on the bottom. You know, you're going back and forth. That's exactly the energy I have. Is that energy of, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. No, what happens if it doesn't come? You know, it's just that energy. But you're so deserving of this, you know. I can't remember. I think a couple of months ago, I did a reading for you, and it came out, you know, that for some of you, and I know from your comments, this has been a journey for the last 5, 10, 20 years. You know, some of you have just really been struggling for so long, just trying to stay hopeful, right? And it's kind of like you can tell you're close to the end of, you know, this difficult journey or this difficult part of your journey. And it's kind of like, okay, is it ever going to turn? Is it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you. Yeah, out of all of the confusion, the wisdom almost instantly comes in. And then you have the Emperor. I really feel like you're gaining control. You're seeing things, you know, almost like the Emperor, you know, can be that energy of, you know, a business, you know, CEO, that type of energy, head of the family, that, you know, that very strong kind of energy. But the thing I'm getting here is that I feel like you've gained all of this wisdom out of all of this chaos and confusion, perhaps for years. You've gained this wisdom about where it is that you are truly going, you know, but it's almost like the Emperor, but it's more of a spiritual sense to it. It's not like totally 3D. It's gaining all of this information. It's life experience. That's what it is. It's total life experience that is putting you into this powerful energy. Yeah, because you're discovering this. Hell has been a journey of discovery. and now you have this optimism going forward. And for some of you, finding that soul tribe that you have really been longing for some time. So let's take a look at your present energy. We have loss and we have the star card, right? The healing card, the wishing upon a star card. This has been in the past. You're not losing anything else, you're Gemini. But that energy of everything that you have lost is kind of like still playing on your mind, right? Understanding that there are people, situations that you have had to leave behind or that have chosen to leave your path. And, finally doing that final bit of healing in the situation, but also this very hopeful, the hopefulness of the star card, wishing upon a star, wishing for that new happiness, that new period of happiness, of love, of fulfillment, abundance, to have that come in. You know that you're deserving, you're peaceful about it, even though you may be anxious about it at times, there's also this sense of peace of, yes, I do deserve it. And, I cannot wait for it to come in, right? Yeah, 3 of Swords on the bottom. So, this energy of the painful things that have happened in the past, I feel like you're seeing the clarity of it. You could be even looking back on the whole scenario, the whole path, the whole last 10, 12, 20 years of your life, and really seeing how you yourself have evolved, that you yourself have become this star, this energy of love and light that you are putting out into the world, and the miracles are just coming. It's such a lovely energy. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Empress, King of Swords, yeah. So, you have the Empress and the King of Swords, King of Swords, Gemini, somewhat your energy, air sign energy. With the Empress energy here, though, I feel like you are now the Empress, right? You have truly kind of blossomed into the Empress energy. And you're seeing clearly now about, the healing process that you have, put a lot of time and energy into. You've kind of put it behind you, I think when we lose things in our life that really mean a lot to us, we never forget, right? We never forget that person or that situation. It's something that, from time to time we'll still long for. But there's a sense here. Yes, I've moved on from it. I understand that that was something I needed to put to the side so that I can move forward. With the here and now, it's kind of like I'm accepting things as they are. You're in a place where you're not longing for the past, and you're not, it's kind of like you're looking forward to the next chapter of your life, but it's not like this energy of, trying to detail it all out or anything. This energy of surrendering, of allowing it to come in the way that it's wanting to come in. Now, it's interesting because I feel like for some of you, there could be another air sign or someone else that is also perhaps somebody that has been on your path, that has, kind of walked away or has not been part of your path for some time. I feel like there's somebody that's coming in, perhaps, to kind of finish this healing process for you. Whether this is a new person or a past person, it's kind of like helping you to finally have closure on what is in the past, So I want to just do the King of Swords here, because there's almost a sense of somebody coming in to help with this final healing. It could even be, okay, Gemini, because I don't jump into the romance stuff too much, but it could even be like a stranger, or somebody like that. And you're having a conversation, like I can very easily get caught up into talking to strangers, right? I mean, if you just kind of like hit it off, you're standing in line waiting for your coffee or something, and then, a conversation just evolves. It could be something simple like that, where this conversation evolves and they're actually coming in to to help you with the clarity that you may not yet have. Okay, so this could be a person that comes in and goes out of your life very, very quickly, maybe even just that conversation, right? That helps you to find the clarity about how far you have healed. Like you're having this conversation, and then it helps to spark something within you where you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, here's 10 of cups on the bottom, right? It's kind of like, yes, I have done the healing. Sometimes the healing process takes so long. And once again, for some of you, it could be a decade, that you have been doing this healing. And in that, sometimes we get lost in how much healing we have done, because we may feel like we haven't quite yet started the next chapter, right? So we're like, I'm still in this transition. I guess I'm not done, And I feel like this is a person that comes in. Yeah, the devil is popping out here, okay? Let's see. Yeah, kind of a sense of being attached, still attached to something that was near and dear to you in the past. With the Two of Cups, it could be, a relationship. It could be, something that was just near and dear to you. It could be a career, a business, a job, a home, something that you lost. And it's almost as if this person comes in and allows you to see that you really don't miss it, like you thought that you missed it, which is really kind of interesting. I'll share a conversation with you when I was talking to one of my neighbors and, it came up. I have renovated homes before. And so she was talking about this little town. And I said, oh, yes, I renovated a house in that town once. And she was like, you did? And then she had been to the town and she knew the house that I had renovated. And so we were having this conversation. Well, it was a house that at one time really did mean a lot to me. There were a lot of fond memories that I had of that house. And so, a lot of times I don't sit there and reminisce about that house, because there are things that when I think about that house, I think about some of the things that I have lost on the path, including that house and some of the things that occurred in that house, right? But when I was having this conversation with her, I found myself being very joyful and really kind of reminiscing about that house, but in a way where I recognized, you know what, I really don't miss that house. I'm really grateful that a house was in my life, and I'm also really grateful that I've moved on from that house. So I think it's a kind of that type of energy where you may feel like, oh, I don't want to think about that person or that situation because that'll make me sad. And then all of a sudden you're talking about it and you're like, yeah, I'm really healed over that. I'm in a good place. That here and now energy, I'm in a good place. So let's see what this, yeah, I feel this, I'm going to say, I think this King of Swords, okay, is somebody that helps you to see how long you have been on this path. This could definitely be somebody that you have a connection with in the past. That could even, and I'm not saying they're trying to reunite, I don't have that energy here, but it's almost like they may even call and contact you, and it's I'm going to say it's divinely guided. If this person contacts you from the past, it is divinely guided. It's to come in and to help to heal some situation from the past, okay? And not to necessarily to reunite, but it's almost what they're showing me is kind of like there's a little hole in your heart, okay, about this situation. Just kind of like I had a little hole in my heart about that house. And then having that conversation, it was almost like a cavity being filled up. It was kind of like, okay, yes, I've done the healing there, right? It's not just a Band-Aid to cover up the wound. It's like the wound is actually filled in. It's actually healed. And I know that this situation, for some of you at first, when you hear from this person, or like when I first started talking about the house, I was like, oh, hope I don't cry, and I didn't, and I didn't, because all of a sudden I realized I just have joyful memories of that house. And I don't really miss that house where I thought it previously I would miss that house. I don't miss that house now, right? So let's see what we have here. Yeah, okay. So your area of resistance, your obstacle is having the courage to really look at this truth, right? It is. It's something that it's like the last little hole in your heart. That's all they keep saying. And they're showing it to me. It's almost like a pinhole. It's not a huge gaping wound, right? It's like a pinhole. And it may seem at times like you don't want to look at it because you're afraid it's a big gaping wound. But that's what this is all here to show you, is that if you have the courage to actually look at this past situation that you may be a little bit afraid to look at, right? Because you could even have a Band-Aid over it and you're kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to lift the Band-Aid and see what could be under there, right? But having the courage to take a look at this actually does the final releasing of this energy. And I really love it. I really and truly do. Gemini, I know you're not, you're very much that type of energy that loves to pull up your bootstraps and move on, right? Not one to dwell too much, thinking about the emotions, right? And I think that is, for the most part, does serve you well. In this situation, I think you're not looking at something because you're kind of afraid to look at it, afraid that it's going to be that gaping wound, that it's going to bring up a lot of difficult emotions. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised that there isn't a gaping wound. Yeah, this is lovely. Look. Okay, so, we have the Justice card. You're afraid that the justice isn't going to, the balance isn't coming into this situation. This is something, it's kind of like, okay, my only option is to walk away, but I don't know if that's the right option for me. Yes, it is. You're going to have victory when you decide to take this leap of faith, take a look at this last little bit of it, and then move on, because you have 2 knights coming in. Knights are interesting energies. The Knight of Wands is a very fast-moving energy, and then the Knight of Cups is a very slow-moving energy. So you have this sense of celebrating, right, of some information, I feel, coming in, okay, very quickly. I feel like it's coming in quickly, but it's like you don't want to look at it. You don't... It could be an email, it could be a letter, it could be just a conversation that you're having with somebody. It comes in very quickly. You're kind of like, I don't know if I really want to take a look at this. But once you do, you're celebrating, and you can leave this situation with love in your heart. Okay. And that's what I think this whole thing is about. It's like, okay, I can move forward in a very loving way. All right, so let's take a look at your advice from Spirit. We have travel and the 10 of Cups. It's about moving in the direction that is really for your highest good, for what it is that you're looking for in your life. For some of you, you could actually be moving, or you could be traveling, you could be going to see somebody. But there's a sense here of just seriously getting, it's that 6 of Swords energy, getting in the boat and going towards something that is much more in alignment with what it is that you want, and it really is. It's just such a lovely energy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like somebody in the past may have betrayed you, may have held you back from what it is that you really wanted to do, to move out into the world to do. But there's also this sense that you've been holding yourself back because there was something that you were afraid to look at. And whatever's underneath that Band-Aid, okay, it's kind of this energy that by not looking at it, you didn't have to deal with it. There's something here that if you don't deal with it, if you don't see, okay, how big or small that wound is, right? It's kind of like you can't move into the next phase of your life. It's really an interesting energy, Gemini, because it really is. It's something, it's kind of like, the monster underneath the bed. When you were a kid and, you were convinced that there was a crocodile or some type of monster or dragon or, whatever underneath the bed, right? You didn't really want to turn on the light and get out of bed and look underneath there because you were convinced that it was there. Right? As a child, you were convinced that there was something underneath your bed. And then your parents may have actually come in and they may have turned on the light and shown you that, there's nothing underneath the bed. I feel like this King of Swords is kind of that energy. It's kind of like your parent coming in and saying, Gemini, there is no monster underneath your bed. They turn on the light. They allow you to have the confidence, the courage to take a look at this and see, yes, you have healed from it. The wound is gone. Whatever little bit needs to be filled in the wound, it's kind of like it can be patched at this time so that you can move on in a very good way. Because look at this, you have the King of Pentacles being very grounded, being very nurturing, the financial wealth, because we have the cow spirit, the miracles coming in. It's also something that is near and dear to your heart and brings you so much fulfillment and joy and abundance, right? And then we have the Page of Pentacles. Out of all of this whole entire journey, you have learned something new that now I feel like you are, and I think that's where this travel card is coming, that you are going to share with the world. Okay, so you have garnered some new spiritual wisdom. It's almost like when you finally look under the bed or the Band-Aid, right? It's kind of like you're like, oh my gosh, like it all comes together for you. It's like the dots are connected. You have, sorry, wrong card. You have that coin, that wisdom, that nugget, that golden nugget of wisdom that now you can take out into the world and share with everyone else. Out of your pain comes your purpose. And I feel like that is what it is. You could have been trying to start some type of business yourself or sharing your spiritual gifts, creative abilities in order to financially, support yourself, because it also is so fulfilling. But this is the very first beginning of understanding, oh my goodness, I really understand the wisdom. For some time, you may have been kind of like almost, feeling like you're going uphill all the time, starting this business or, writing your book or whatever it is that you're trying to put out into the world. You're trying to share your love and light. What I think you're going to realize over this next month or so is that you didn't really have all of the pieces yet. With this Page of Pentacles, it's almost as if you realize, oh my goodness, I had to, I just wasn't really quite ready yet, okay, to put it all the way out there. There's this sense that you're getting the last jigsaw puzzle piece, to finish the puzzle. And now you're going to have all the pieces so that whatever it is that you're trying to put out into the world, it's going to go quickly and it's going to just grow. It's almost like exponentially, right? And I know right now you could be sitting somewhere thinking, I don't know, Mary Sue, I'm putting all this time and energy into it. I've been, going almost like door to door, right? And trying to get my idea off the ground. And now all of a sudden it's because you have put so much time and energy into this transitional phase, that you're on, this spiritual journey that, when we think about 10, 12, 20 years, I know some of you have been on this journey for so long. There's so much wisdom that you have gained, you know, so many different side lessons, you know, some of those lessons just kept coming back, right, in different ways. You're starting to understand now, oh my goodness, I just wasn't quite yet ready for all of this to come together. Now you are understanding, I have that last puzzle piece. Now I am ready for it to all come together. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. All right, so let's pull a soul truth card here for you. And Gemini, I do personal readings, so if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I'd really be honored to do a reading for you. Okay, so let's see what we have here. How can I infuse more self-love and compassion into my daily life? You know, I feel like sometimes that is how we can stay positive and hopeful about our life, you know, and you have the star card here, you know, being really hopeful, is to really be the one that keeps coming back to ourselves, taking good care of ourselves, being compassionate with ourselves, you know, watching our self-talk and understanding that, you know, when we get that wave of anxiety or that wave of fear, this is never going to work out for me, right? To turn it around and understand it is going to work out for me. You know, I'm taking those steps. I'm going to be successful. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. And that's a Buddha quote. Choose one self-care action to do today. Set stronger boundaries. Meditate and listen to your heart. Focus on your strengths. Say no to something that isn't a soul yes, and say yes to something you are afraid of. Let go of what you cannot control. Ask for help and allow it. And write down 3 things you are grateful for. Okay, now I'm going to put that up there because the message I got was, Gemini, I bet if you looked at those 10 things 6 months ago, okay, you may say, well, I'm working on that. I'm working on that. I'm working on that. I'd love to hear in the comments. I bet some of you now can say, I can say that in the last month or so, I have made great strides in this. I think that that is the golden nugget that you have been working on for a very long time is self-love and compassion for yourself. It's probably taken you a very long time to set healthy boundaries, right? To speak to yourself with compassion, to focus on your strengths. Understanding now that this journey had to be slow so that you could put those, self-care habits and beliefs into your daily routine, okay? Because when the miracles come in, then what? You can't let that all flow out. It has to be, part of your daily routine. And you're understanding that now. For some of you, you may be actually stepping into, some type of business or coaching or something to help other people to put in those self-love, compassionate, self-talk and self-care, all of that into their own lives. Because it is, when we do that, it's kind of like it brings us that sense of safety and security that we so desperately sometimes need in order to, feel confident and successful in our life. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there, Gemini. I do wish you so much love and light in this situation and all your situations. I appreciate all of your support through liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I hope to see you again really soon. Bye for now.